So I'm just, yeah, this is the diagram of compilation and PDV and output method. So, and after that, I'm just using okay. When I execute demo on program, now how many observations and how many variables will get? 3 variables and 4 observations. 3 variables and 4 observations. So when I execute this program, now you can see inside demo on data step, we will get 4 records with 3 observation. ID and name are the character variables, and age is a numeric variable. And you can see the log, yeah, same information what we are seeing inside the data step. Now we have the question. What is the question? So we have the output method to create the data step, and we have the input method to create the data step. Then what is the difference between output method and input method? So there is a very easy difference you can find. So already I told you in the last class, when we are just working with the output method, when we are working with the output method, automatically that is a single iteration process. Okay, output is the single iteration process, but input method is a multiple iteration process. So always this program contains, always, if it means the definition is if the data set doesn't contain anything, so the data set has only single iteration process. Doesn't contain, it means it doesn't contain input or set methods. So the data set has only single iteration process. Now, when we are coming to the input method, automatically, so this is multiple iteration process. Okay, this is multiple iteration process. How it will create the iterations? Here you know that it will create only underscore n underscore is equals to 1 single iteration process. But in this program, it is a input method is a multiple iteration process. How it will create the iterations? Based on the cards declarations. How many data sets we have declared inside the card statement? So those many observations it will create. Okay, so coming to the point now. So we know that after this execution, already we have seen multiple iteration process by using the put underscore all underscore statement. This is the put underscore all underscore statement after reading the data values. After reading the data values, and this is the first one is before reading the data values. Okay, before and after. Now when I execute this program, how it will execute? When I execute this program, how it will execute? It means now first of all PDV, first it will start with the single iteration process. Okay, first it will start with the single iteration process. So for any PDV, not in output method or input method. Okay, for any PDV, so first it will display the variables based on the type declaration. So here we have declared dollar symbol, right? So based on this dollar symbol, the ID variable type is character type. Next, age variable type is numeric, and name variable type is character. After that, we have automatic variable is called underscore error underscore is equals to 0 underscore n underscore is equals to 1. This is the first iteration process. It means always you need to remember. So if PDV start means it will start with the first iteration. Okay, it will start with the first iteration. There is no 0 below 0 iteration. It will start with the first itself. Okay, so from number 1 onwards. Now So this is the basic. It means, so here by using the input method, you know, right? So input method directly after compilation phase, it will move to PDV level. When we are using the input method directly without using a, when we are using the output method, automatically after compilation phase, it will directly moving to PDV and then it will output the data step. But this we are discussing now is a input method, right? Input method. So input method will do the same. It means after compilation phase, if the data set doesn't contain any syntax errors, so then it will directly move to the PDV. No, no. Why? Because here, based on the data declarations, here based on the data declarations, the compilation phase it will create the variables. Okay, but coming to input method, when we are using the input statement to declare a variables, so in PDV, it means in this process, it will add one more subpart after the compilation. Okay, it will add one more subpart after the compilation. What is that subpart? What is that it means? That is called input buffer. After compilation, okay, it in input method, in input method, so when SAS compiler execute, it means just checks only the syntax errors, it will not create the variables. Yeah, remember this point. Here the compilation phase, it will create the variables in between the PDV and compilation relation. But coming to the input method, the compilation phase, it will not create the variables. So which part of information, it means which part of execution will create the variables? So we have separate one buffer area part to create the variables by using the input buffer. So in general, you can't see the input buffer. In general, you can't see the input buffer. If suppose, so I'm not declaring dollar symbol. So it means, what it means, name is a numeric variable, but I'm entering the data character type. So will it read the name variable, the numeric name variable, will it read character values? No. So if you run the program, you'll get, this is not the syntax error. Please remind. Okay, syntax error, it means the compilation level error. We call it as a syntax error. That syntax error, it will given a red line mark and it will not execute anything. So the execution phase, it will not start. So when we have the compilation error, automatically it stops with the execution part. Now you can see here. Now you can see here. So there is a something different values we are seeing. That thing. So some different values you are seeing. So yeah, forget about the before after values, but you can just observe this note, invalid data for name variable in the line of line. So, and you are seeing this note, right? Rule. This rule line is called input buffer. Okay, this rule line is called input buffer in execution level. So this input buffer, it will execute after compilation phase, before starting up the PDV. This input buffer, when it will execute after compilation process, it means compilation phase, it will check the syntax errors, and then input buffer, it will create the variables. And so how it will create the variables? Based on the input statement, what variables we have declared in the input statement. So if, so yeah, for example, here we have declared ID variable. After that, what we have declared? Dollar. Dollar indicates the variable type is character type, and next we have declared age. So are you declared dollar symbol here? No. That is the reason age is a numeric variable. And the same way, name is also a numeric variable. But for name variable, we are assigning the character data. So that is the reason, because of the, it means name is a numeric variable, it won't assign the character data. So in that part, so now you can see this buffer line is there, right? Yeah, this buffer line is there, and you can see this part now. Previously, always in last class programs, always you just identified underscore error underscore value is always 0. Okay, always 0. When it start with the reading process, okay, it means it is before. It means it is not started with the data. Okay, it is not starting to read the data. It means in course level. So the before PDV part here, there is no data. That is the reason it is just giving without any errors. Okay, and all missing values. After that, when it is reading the data and then it is showing underscore error underscore is equals to 1. Why? Because it is giving 1, because it identified the error. It means after compilation phase, if we have any data type conversion errors, after compilation phase, if we have any data type conversion errors in execution level, so compilation phase, the syntax is perfect, but execution level, it means the reading process. So a numeric name is a numeric variable, but we entered the character values. So will it read? No, it means the data type conversion. So numeric variable, it would not accept the character values. That is the reason the error identified in execution level. When the error identified in execution level, then you can see the value underscore error underscore is equals to 1. Okay, then you can see the value underscore error underscore is equals to 1. So that is the reason you can see this rule line is called input buffer. So this input buffer, it will create the variables based on the input statement. Okay, so I think, is it clear for everyone, right? Now I'll start the execution part of this program. Any questions? Any questions? No questions, are still in a confusion status? Hello?
Yeah, clear.
No, all good, all good.
Yeah, remaining, please respond when I ask the question. So if you have any question, I will repeat again.
Yes, clear.
It's clear.
Okay, thank you.
Clear.
Okay, and then now I will move to the execution part. So this is the program we have in input method level. So yeah, when we execute this program after compilation phase, and then what it will work after compilation phase, what phase it will work?
Buffer.
Directly it moves to PDV or something?
Input buffer.
Input buffer.
We have one more process is called, after compilation phase, we have one more process is called input buffer. That input buffer it will create when we are using only input method, not in all cases. Only when we are declaring input method, the input buffer will work and it will create the variables. Okay, based on the dollar identification. So now what I'm doing here, okay, so I'm just the same part. I'll just, I'm not changing anything and I'm just changing the data set name, demo2. So here name is a character, right? That is the reason I'm declaring the dollar symbol. Okay, after this compilation phase, when it start with the PDV, first in PDV, what values we have for every variable before reading the data? In general, in PDV level, what values we have when it is not, it means when it is not started with the reading the data, before the data, what values we have inside the PDV? what PDV will assign automatic values for all the variables? If variable is a character type, it will assign space. If variable is numeric, it will assign dot. That's it for all variables. After that, the execution phase, the PDV execution phase will start. So then here something, the loop environment is there. Okay, in input method. So in output method, you can see everything is straightforward. It means first it will create the data step in execution level. It will read line to line. After this line, it will move to next. It will till read before run statement, and then it will execute run statement. But coming to input method, this is totally different. This is one looping process. How it will execute? Yes, first statement is put underscore all underscore before. It means before the data reading values, what values we have. It means when it starts with the first iteration, when it executes with the first put underscore all underscore statement, what is the process of the put underscore all underscore statement? It will print the information inside the log. It will print the information inside the log. So now this is the data present in PDV level. I'm just displaying in log level. After that, it will read the input method. Okay, it will read the input method. Already input buffer is created, all variables, right? So when it reads with input statement, then it will immediately move to cards statement. Okay, listen carefully. When it reads input statement, from here, it will immediately move to jump to cards statement. Okay, why? Because what variables we have declared in input method, for that the values will come by using the cards or data line statement. So after reading with the input statement, then the cursor automatically it moves to card statement. It will not read next line. Okay, this line will not read. When it start with the input method, automatically it moves to cards. So in cards, it will start with reading first line. So what values we have in first line? 101. After that, we have age value is 24, and next JOHN, John. Okay, John. When it means it will assign the values based on the order. For ID 101, next age 24, next name John. After that, every statement end with the semicolon, right? So after reading the values, it will search for the semicolon. So immediately where the cursor, from which place the cursor moves. So from here, the cursor moves into this part. Okay, this place. So from here, will it execute the output for the first iteration? No. Then it will check, is there any statements in between input and cards? So from here, then it will check, is there any statement to read input and cards? So from this place, it will execute put underscore all underscore statement. So from this place, it will execute put underscore all underscore statement. When this put underscore all underscore statement executes, what values we have inside the PDV? What values we have inside the PDV? These are the values what already be declared in first iteration level. Now it will print these values with updated values. I'm just removing this text values. Okay, you know already the before values will get missing, after it will get updated values. So after display, after it means after executing this this statement, do we have any other statement to read here? Like so listen careful. In between input and cards, you can declare n number of statements, just like input output method, like these statements. Okay, so in between input and cards, you can declare n number of statements if required. So there is no limit of declaration, but after reading of this semicolon, then it will check is there any statements in between input and cards. If the statements are available, it will read one by one here. First, it will read first statement, next and third, fourth, and so on. N number of elements it will read. Only statement level. It will not jump here. So the execution process is a bit different comparing with the output method. That is the reason we call it is a built-in loop system. The input method is built-in loop system. So it is not executing directly by statement. So how it is executing? Based on the looping process. Sorry. Any questions? Okay. So from here, yeah, when it means after the statement executes, it is just printing the information inside the log. And then, so if you are not finding any statements after the statement declaration in between input and cards, from this place, it will store the first iteration into data step level. From this place, it will store the first iteration into data set level. So what are the variables now? Age and name. Okay, now 101, next 24, and next John. Okay, this is the first observation. Next, so the execution is complete here? No. Then automatically after displaying the first observation inside the data step, next immediately it will change the iteration process. Immediately it will change the iteration process and it will increment 1. So 1 plus 1, 2. So the second iteration process is started now. When it is changed with the new iteration process, automatically when it starts with the new iteration, then again it will declare all variables values same missing if the character, space, and numeric dot. So now it is a missing value. Okay, it is a missing value. So now you can check here. When it starts with the new iteration, always you need to remember all variables it will create missing. And then it will start execution from here onwards. It means from starting onwards. So for each iteration, it will execute full program. You need to remember the point. So the iteration, it will not start in middle of the program. So from starting onwards, it will start and execute for the each iteration. That is the reason we are calling it is a looping system. So when it executes put underscore all underscore statement for the second iteration, so it will just missing it means it just displaying the missing values for the all data step variables along with the automatic variables with second iteration. This is the second iteration. This is the second iteration. Now, so after that, you can declare the values 102, next 22, and Alex. So this is the second iteration values. Sorry. So I need to explain, right? So from this place, after printing the dummy values, so from this place, it will move to the cursor into input method. Then from here, it will move to the cursor into cards. Already first line is completed, right? Then it will move to the cursor into second line. So when second line reads, it will update these values for each variables, ID, age, name. From here, the cursor will move to semicolon, and then it will check is there any statements in between input and cards. yes, we have one statement is called put underscore all underscore statement. When this statement executes, it will print the information what we have inside the PDV block. So what we have inside the PDV block, the information it will print inside log window. So after this, so after reading the all statements, only we have one. If we have a number of statements also, it will read. So after reading the statements in between input and cars, then it will store the second iteration of values into second observation in dataset level 22 and Alex. Okay, next. Next again, well, after that, you will immediately start with third iteration. When it start with the third iteration, again, all variable values should be missing. The PDV it will degrade when new iteration started, the variable value should be missing, right? So after this, and then the process again, it will start. First, what statement we have? Put underscore all underscore statement. After that, what statement we have? Input statement. So when it will input statement start with the cursor, immediately it will move to cars statement. After in car statement, it will read the data. So already first two lines are completed. Now what line it will read now? Third line 103 and next 21 and next we have the value. His name is called Bara. Okay, from here it will read semicolon and then it will check input and cars in between statements. So now we have the statement is called put underscore all underscore. When put underscore all underscore executes, it will print the information what we have the data inside PDV block. After that, it will just print the information as a third record what values we have inside the PDV 103, 21 and Barbara. This is the third record values. And next, it will automatically start with the fourth iteration. Space dot space. And then again, the execution process will start. Now, when the first put statement executes, what values we have? These are the values we have now. Okay. Next, after reading, after that, it will move to the cursor input method. From input method, it will jump to the cursor into cars. So in cars, already the first three lines are completed. Then it will move to fourth line. So the fourth line, it will read 104 and next 25 and next William. Okay, after this, it will read semicolon, then it will check in between input and cars statement. So we have one statement is called put underscore all underscore statement. What is the process of put underscore all underscore statement? It will print the information what we have in the log and sorry, what we have inside the PDV. It will print inside the log. Okay. Now from here, where the cursor will move? Input and cards. So yeah, it is printed, right? After that, it will move to the record into output level. So 104 and next 25 and next William. After this, so by seeing this data, we only know we have only 4 iterations. We only know we have only 4 iterations, but that is a wrong statement. We have the 5 iterations. So after displaying the 4th record in output level, it immediately start for the 5th iteration because the PDV don't know how many records declared inside the card statement unless it's checking. Till now we have the data. So then again, it will start with the 5th iteration. So when new iteration started, you can see all missing values for the variables. You can see all missing values for the variables. So this is the 5th iteration value. So first, which statement is executing? put underscore all underscore statement is executed. Now, when we execute this program, see, this is the line. After this execution, okay, next it will move the cursor into input, and then from here it will move the cursor into cards. Next, it will search the data for the fifth iteration. It will search any data for fifth iteration. So do we have any data to read for the fifth iteration here? Do you have any data for
No.
fifth iteration? No.
No.
So then when it is not identifying the data for the fifth iteration, so now the iteration process is terminates. So in cards statement, when it is not finding any data for that particular iteration, from that iteration, the iteration process, it totally terminates, and then it will execute the run statement. So the fifth iteration is started, but it is not finding any data in cars level. So that is the reason the fifth iteration is terminated here itself. So the fifth iteration is not executed, but it is started, but it is not completely executed because it is not finding any data inside the cars statement. That is the reason we are getting only the 5 records. But how many iterations it's created? It started with 5 iteration, but it ended with only 4 iterations. The fifth iteration, it is not getting any data. Okay, if suppose you are entering any data for the fifth iteration here, again the same sixth iteration execution, it will start and it terminates if it is not identifying any data in sixth iteration values. So then the sixth iteration also it will terminate. Okay, is it clear for everyone?
Yes.
Any questions?
Raghava, I have a quick question for you.
Yeah.
Suppose, like for the output process, you explained us if there is any missing value, then the constant value gets repeated. So in this situation, if there are any missing values, how the iteration process works for this? It's the same. For example, you can add some salary amounts.
Yeah, that is the main difference, because this is a single iteration process. All the constant values, right? Now here iteration after iteration, total different values. We won't compare. So if suppose you are seeing this is separate concept is called. So you have the in-file options, miss over, trunk over options are there. So that is to read the data in different paces. So I think in our programmatical level, we don't require. So, and if you have a chance, you can try with the miss over and trunk over data. Don't spend more time. Just you need to know what exactly it will do. I'll just give one example here. I'll just give one example here. So what it is doing now? And one more thing, before declaration, first I'll show you what exactly the log. I'll show you what exactly the log. Now you can see the same log what we have written in our editor. The same log you can see. This is the log, and the same thing you need to write explicitly. So from the keyboard, you need to write at least 3 to 5 programs. From the keyboard, you need to write these lines from starting onwards. You know very well also. For the practice and best understanding, to understand everything is clear, you need to at least practice these type of examples, at least 5. Okay. So it is clear for everyone, right? Till now? If suppose, if we have missing data, suppose if we have missing data, I'll just give you one example. Now you can see how many observations you are seeing here. Only 3 observations. How many observations you are seeing? Only 3. And name value, it is reading 103. Okay. Name value is reading 103. Why? Because here it won't consider a space as a delimiter or a value. Explicitly, it won't consider space as a value in input method level. So if you are declaring dot, it indicates missing value. It is not a dot here. It indicates missing identification for the character variable as well. It indicates missing identification for the character variable as well. Okay, if you are not declaring what it is executing, so the first observation it will read perfectly without any issues. When it start with the second observation, so first ID value it start with 101, next age 22. After that, do we have any value to read for the name value? Do you have any value?
No.
The second line?
No.
No. So what input method is doing here? It is immediately moving to the next line. So when it is not finding any value, it is immediately moving to next line and it is reading this 103 value for the second iteration. Okay, that is the reason you can see the SAS went to the new line when input statement reached past to end of a line. This new you are seeing the first time I think. Why? Because we miss some value. Okay, so for the particular variable, it doesn't has any data. So what it is doing, it is immediately moving to the next line and it is reading. So the initiation process is started. When it start with the third iteration, so this third iteration value is totally ignored because the iteration, so the first 103 value is already read inside the name variable for the second iteration, right? So when third iteration started, it just ignores the third iteration and it will move to next iteration immediately. That is the reason you can see 103 only the value for inside the name variable, but it won't read 21 and Barbara. Okay. To overcome this problem, we have one statement is called infile. We have too many infile options are there. If you have the time, you can try to prepare. So infile option, how can we execute the infile options? Okay, infile. Okay. No logical sign. I think we need to declare. I'll tell you. Now you can see the 4 records, right? So what misover statement is doing, it means if any value is missed, we missed in the same line, so it will keep the missing value for that line and it won't move to next line immediately. Previously it is moving to next line, right? When we use misover statement for the car statement, so the misover statement it stop to moves to the next line. So we just ignore the first line and if that variable doesn't has the data, it will immediately assign that space. It means missing value. Okay. Data lines. Both are same. No difference. Okay. Now you can see the missing of the particular values. So like that you can, so just if you have the time, you can just check with the miss or and run code. Otherwise it is fine. But this is, I need this concept to be clear for everyone. Okay, this is very, very important. That is very basics. You can, by just reading, you can understand. But this discussion, so it means if you check in books also, you won't find anything. So this is totally new concept. So if it is clear for everyone, I'll just move to next concept.
Yeah.
Yes.
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 Perfect. Okay, so that is clear. Next, I'm just immediately moving to okay, this is the demo for data step. Okay, now file set 4. So here I'm declaring put underscore. This is before PDV. Put underscore all underscore. I'll just, you can just compare the difference in between set execution and input execution. What is the difference here? What is the difference? Always you need to remember, when we are using input method, we are declaring each and every variable locally and we are creating the data set. Demo 4, explicitly we are declaring the data and we are creating the variables and the data set. Demo 4, we are creating, it means by entering the data we are creating. Now coming to demo 5, we are creating the data, any data? No, we are using existing data and we are just modifying the data. We are not creating the data. It means we are not entering anything here. So by using existing data, we are just using some operations and we are executing that. So that is the main process. Now I need to check the PDV level. What is the difference in between set and input method? Now you can just observe the first line. The first line, which start with the PDV, the iteration, when it start with the new iteration, you can see ID variable value missing, age variable value dot, and name variable value missing. Same underscore error underscore and underscore underscore. So here also you can see the same values. It means when you start with the PDV level and first iteration level, you can see all missing values for the character and numeric variables. And when you start with the input method, it will read car statement and it will assign the values and it is just printing 101, 24 and John. Okay, yes. Here also you can see same values 101, 21, 24 John. There is no difference. Now you can just observe when it start with the second iteration process, all variable values, it just keeping again the missing values. It means when every iteration is started in input method level, it will keep missing values for the all variables for each iteration starting. But when it is started, but when we are using the set statement, it is totally opposite. So now you can check the second iteration level. The first iteration values are retaining into second iteration level. You can see, you can observe the first iteration values is carry forwarding into second iteration. Is the same line are you finding here? No, right? Here we are getting the missing values totally. But here you can see the previous values are retaining into next iteration. And then it is reading the second time. It means how it will read. Simply you need to understand after compilation phase. After compilation phase, first we have the values. These are the PDV values. After that, okay, it will print the values inside that. After that, it will read the set demo for data set. So in that set demo 4, it will read the first record values. In that set demo 4 data set, it will read the first record values. After that, what statement we have? Put underscore or underscore statement. After reading, what values we have? 10124 job. First iteration is completed, and this iteration it will print inside demo 5 data store. First iteration. After that, it will start immediately with the second iteration. When second iteration starts, so in input level, when it will start with the new iteration, automatically all variable values just keep missing. But here, when you start with the new iteration, the previous iteration values is retaining into next iteration. That is the reason you can see 10124 job. After that, so this is the statement is printing previous iteration values to next iteration. After this put underscore all underscore statement, reading completion of reading process for the second iteration, then it will read set demo 4. So in set demo 4, it will read the second iteration data 10222 Alex. That is fine. Okay, after that, when it starts with the third iteration, then again it will start with the previous iteration values is carry forwarding into next iteration value. What is the previous iteration value? Yes, that is a second iteration value. Okay, now the same way, after that, it will just print the information inside. This is the line is printing the previous iteration values. After that, when data reads that third iteration values, these are the third iteration values. You can just open the data set and check the same data, just because of here we are creating the data, here we are using the data. Okay, that is the difference. So same process it will continue. Any questions here? Still here?
No.
No, right?
Can you show in the PD level, Ravana, please?
Sorry?
Can you show this output in the PDV level?
You mean I need to write here?
Yes, please.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, when we select this program, when you are just clicking on the run symbol, so it will just first execute the compilation phase. Here there is no input buffer, only input statement has the input buffer. Here directly after compilation phase, it will throw the data into PDV level. So PDV has a values at the first time for the variables. What variables we have? In demo for data step, ID is equals to space, next age is equals to dot, and next name is equals to space. After that we have underscore error underscore is equals to 0 and underscore n underscore is equals to 1. This is the statement. Okay, so when it start with the reading, so the first put underscore all underscore statement will execute, right? When this statement executes, what is the data we have inside the PDV? This is the data we have inside the PDV. So this is the log. Okay, yeah, we'll discuss after completion of this. So this is the log, and then it will read set demo 4. In set demo 4, what is the first iteration data? Yeah, we know that set demo 4 data. This is the set demo 4 data only, right? So what is the first iteration data? 10124 and jar. So if you assign 101 and 24 j jar. Okay, after that, after reading the values, it will just move to next statement. What values we have? This put underscore all underscore statement we have. So when its statement executes, this is the data we have inside the PDV block. Now this is the line. After this, it will just print the information in output level, ID, name, sorry, name 101, age 24, name HR. Okay, now this first iteration process is completed by using the PDV level. It just storing the data. Then immediately it will start with the second iteration process. So this is the second iteration process. So previously what happened in input method level, when it start with the new iteration, automatically the all variable values are should be displaying missing, right? It is displaying missing. But in set level, this is the source data set, right? So when it is reading with the source data set, it won't assign missing values. What it will assign? It will keep the previous iteration values into next iteration. So the first iteration, the same values, it will keep into second iteration. Okay, so when second time in second iteration level, when put statement execute, put underscore all underscore executes, what values we have inside the PDV block? These are the values we have inside the PDV block. So this information it will print inside PDV, and next it will read set demo for, it means 102 and 22, and next Alex. Okay, next Alex. After that, what statement we have? Put underscore all underscore statement. When that statement prints, what values we have inside the PDV block? This is. Okay. So it will execute continuously. Then again, it will start with the third iteration. So it will print third iteration values as a second. It will retain the second iteration values into third iteration, and it will print third iteration values. After that, it will read the set statement. So and then again it will reassign with the instead of 102, it will replace with 103. Instead of 22, it will replace with 21. Instead of Alex, it will replace with Barbara. This is the execution process. Is it clear for everyone?
Yes.
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 You can complete
Yes.
the process. So and this also, it will create 5 iterations. For the 5th iteration, example already you know, right? 5th iteration, it will start the 5th iteration. Okay, for example, this is the 5th iteration. 4th iteration values are this, right? 25 and Alex, instead of Alex, William. So it started with the 5th iteration. It will print the information inside this 5th iteration values before updation of data. After that, do we have any data to read for the 5th iteration in demo 4? Do we have any data to read here?
No.
No.
We have only 4 iterations. Do not have 5th iteration to read in a set statement. So when set statement is not identifying the 5th iteration data in demo 4, then it will terminate the iteration process cycle. At the same way, what is done in input level also. So it terminates the 5th iteration, iteration process cycle, and then it will execute the run statement. From here, it will execute the run statement. Like that, the program will execute. So this is the execution process for the set statement. Is it clear now?
Yes.
Everyone?
Yes. Yes.
Perfect.
Yes. Yes.
Perfect. Now I just, okay, I'll just complete class in 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. So I'll just show one difference. Now what I'm doing, age m is equals to age plus 2. Just you can observe ID, age, name are the source data set variables, but agem is a local variable. Agem is a local variable. Now, when I execute this program, in demo file, you can see. So first line is common for local and global, no issues. Second line also, after reading, it is fine. When it start with the second iteration, now you can see the variable. It means the only the retain process is applying for only source data set variables, not for the local variable. Are you observing this point? The agem variable has a missing value, but the all source data set variables are retaining. Is it so? Are you identifying this value?
Yes.
Yes, right? So why? Because it is a local variable. Local variable, it means, don't think too much. Local variable, it means when we are creating any variable in that particular data step, it won't work like as a source data set variables. It means when it starts with the new iteration, automatically it will display all missing values. Okay, if the variable is a local variable, in PDV level, it will not retain the data. When it starts with the new iteration, it will keep everything it should be missing, and then it will freshly update the data. That is the reason it is not retaining previous iteration values into next iteration. So it means you can just think like input method level. So in input method level, how the data is executing? Is it retaining any value? Input method level? No, right? For every iteration, for every new iteration, it is keeping all missing values because these are all the local variables. At the same way, agem is also a local variable inside the demo file data set. That is the reason it is not retaining the previous iteration values into next iteration. Okay. So yeah, that's it for today's class. I'll just next week I'll take some extra time. So if we have any doubts, we'll discuss in next class. So I think the class is clear for everyone, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So please practice these things. I think when you are entering the data in system, you will get more doubts, and if doubts are perfectly you are executing, that is wonderful. It means you are getting all things very good. Okay, please practice. So you have the weekend also. So try to practice and cover all concepts what we have discussed till now. Okay. Thank you very much. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.